All right, so are you ready to dive into something kind of personal?
Oh, this sounds interesting.
We're going to take a look at this YouTube video, and it claims to have a special message just for you,
Oh, wow.
all about you,
Yep.
and like packed with all these spiritual revelations.
Okay.
And it gets pretty intense.
Intense in what way?
Well, they don't hold back at all.
Oh, no.
They're using phrases like emergency message, and they say a seer reacted to your energy.
Your energy.
Yeah, like your energy,
Yeah, okay.
in a way they've never seen before.
Really?
Yeah, talk about dramatic.
Wow. Yeah, that is pretty dramatic. It's interesting how they use that kind of language,
Yeah.
like emergency message and act fast to really like grab you,
Right.
make it seem super urgent.
Oh, yeah.
Like you have to pay attention right now or you'll miss out.
It definitely makes you feel like you're about to uncover some huge secret.
Right.
And then the way they talk about the seer, like how they reacted to your energy, like they were just totally blown away, makes you feel pretty special.
It does, yeah.
Like you've got this hidden power waiting to be unleashed.
It really taps into that human desire to feel unique and important,
Right, right.
to
Yeah.
have this purpose. Like you're meant for something big.
Totally.
It's a clever way to pull people in,
Yeah.
make them more receptive to whatever message is coming next.
So let's get into the specifics. The video lists a bunch of signs
Right.
that you might be experiencing as proof of this awakening power. So things like lights flickering,
Okay.
electronics going haywire, seeing repeating numbers,
Repeating numbers are...
like 3.33, 4.44,
I've heard about that.
even animals acting strangely around you.
Interesting.
Any that's ringing a bell.
It is fascinating how many of these signs are actually pretty common,
Right.
but we don't usually even notice them.
Right.
But the moment someone tells us to look for them, suddenly they seem super important.
Oh, totally.
And this is where confirmation bias comes in.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah, have you ever heard of that?
Yeah. Oh, I think so. But maybe remind me.
Yeah, so confirmation bias is this tendency we all have
Okay.
to kind of notice and favor information that confirms what we already believe,
Oh, I totally get that.
Like if you think you're unlucky and then something bad happens, you're like, see, I knew it.
It's like when you learn a new word.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you hear it everywhere.
Right, exactly.
You start noticing it because you're primed to, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Once we have a belief in our head, our brains, they tend to sort of focus on anything that supports it.
Right.
And we kind of ignore the stuff that doesn't fit.
Right. So you might start seeing those flickering lights as a sign of your awakening,
Yeah.
even though they've always been there.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
just now you're noticing.
Yeah. And there's also this thing called the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon.
What's that?
Yeah, it's this weird thing where it seems like something is suddenly everywhere after you've noticed it for the first time.
Oh, so that's why I keep seeing 11.0 on the clock.
Exactly.
It's everywhere after I read that numerology article.
Yeah, it could be.
Huh. So maybe these signs aren't quite as mystical as the video makes them seem.
Right. Well, there's always room for different interpretations.
Okay.
It's important to, approach these extraordinary claims with a bit of a skeptical eye.
Right.
Ask yourself, are there other, simpler explanations?
Okay, so maybe flickering lights aren't a direct line to the cosmos.
Well, maybe. Maybe not.
But what about this idea of past lives?
Past lives.
Yeah, the video claims that you've been healers
Okay.
and mystics in past lives, and now all that ancient wisdom is like reawakening within you. That's pretty wild, right?
The concept of past lives has been around for centuries, really,
Yeah.
across many different cultures,
Yeah.
belief systems, and while there's no scientific evidence to prove it,
Right.
it still really fascinates people.
It definitely makes you think. The idea that we might, carry echoes of past experiences,
Yeah.
knowledge from previous lives.
It's a captivating thought, for sure.
Yeah.
And from a psychological perspective, this belief in past lives can be powerful,
Oh, really?
It gives people a sense of continuity, this feeling that we're part of something bigger than ourselves.
Right.
And it can even help us make sense of our current lives,
Oh, interesting.
and the challenges we face.
So even if we can't scientifically prove past lives, the concept itself can have a deep, psychological impact.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It speaks to our deep desire as humans
Okay.
to figure out who we are, where we came from,
Right.
our place in the universe.
So it's kind of like a way of understanding ourselves.
Exactly, yeah.
But the video doesn't stop at past lives. It claims your powers are growing stronger,
Stronger. Wow.
that you're influencing others, and that you have this huge responsibility to use your abilities for good.
That's a lot of responsibility.
They're talking about influencing people, healing, manifesting desires. It's like superhero stuff.
Yeah, it does sound like that. This is where things get a bit tricky, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of having these extraordinary powers, it's appealing,
Right.
but it also raises some ethical questions.
Right. Imagine believing you have the power to influence people's thoughts and actions.
Right.
That could easily lead to manipulation
Yeah, definitely.
or a distorted sense of self-importance.
Exactly. It's crucial to be aware of those potential consequences.
Right.
And to remember that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
So a healthy dose of skepticism is essential, even when dealing with seemingly positive abilities.
Absolutely. Even something like healing, right?
Right.
Which is generally considered a good thing.
Right.
It can still have unintended consequences if it's not approached carefully.
Right.
We have to think about the ethics of any action,
Yeah.
especially when we believe it involves influencing others.
Speaking of impact, the video mentions physical changes happening because of this awakening.
Physical changes, okay.
Glowing skin, brighter eyes, needing less sleep. Are they suggesting we're becoming superhuman?
Well, those transformations sound amazing,
They do.
but there might be more grounded explanations,
Like what?
Well, for example, the power of suggestion can have a huge effect on how we perceive ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Even our physical state.
Oh, like the placebo effect.
Exactly.
When you take a sugar pill thinking it's medicine and you actually start feeling better.
Exactly.
Wow.
Our beliefs, our expectations, they can really shape our experiences.
Wow.
And if you believe that you're undergoing some powerful transformation,
Right.
you might start noticing little changes
Oh, wow.
in how you look or your energy level.
So that glow might just be the power of belief at work.
It's definitely a possibility.
Huh. That's fascinating.
It really highlights that incredible link between our mind and our bodies,
Yeah.
and how our beliefs can shape our reality.
This is getting pretty deep. But there's more. The video actually gives you specific instructions to follow.
Oh, instructions.
Yeah, daily rituals, energy shielding,
Energy shielding.
charging water, breathing exercise.
Oh,
It's like a spiritual training program.
interesting. It is interesting to think about those instructions from a psychological point of view.
Okay, yeah.
Like rituals and routines, they can be really powerful.
All right.
They provide structure, a sense of control,
Right.
especially when we're feeling uncertain or overwhelmed.
I can see that.
So if you're going through all these supposed changes,
Right.
having a set of actions to follow, it can be grounding.
Totally. Like empowering.
Yeah. And the fact that the instructions are so specific,
Right.
it makes them seem more authoritative, believable.
Yeah, it's like, wow, they know exactly what I need to do.
Exactly.
This must be the real deal.
Yeah. And did you notice how they emphasize a specific timeline?
Oh, right.
Like the next 24 hours are crucial.
Right.
This creates this sense of urgency, and it pushes people to act right away, without stopping to think.
Right, without questioning.
Right.
Like it's a limited time offer for enlightenment.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It plays on that fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And it makes us feel like we have to do what they say.
Right, comply.
Or we're going to miss this incredible opportunity.
So even the timing is strategically designed to influence our behavior.
Yeah, I mean, it's clever,
Yeah.
but it could also be seen as manipulative,
It definitely highlights the importance of critical thinking
For sure.
and questioning the motivations
Yes,
behind the information we encounter.
absolutely.
Okay, so we've got flickering lights,
Right.
past lives, superpowers, physical transformations, and a whole spiritual boot camp to follow.
That's a lot.
But it gets even more intriguing.
More intriguing, okay.
The video identifies you as a star child
Star Child.
or a light bearer
Okay.
connected to ancient prophecies
Wow.
and a grand purpose.
A grand purpose.
Are we all secret chosen ones now?
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
This idea of the chosen one, it's a classic narrative. You
Yeah.
find it in myths and stories across so many cultures.
Right.
And it taps into our very human need for meaning and purpose.
Right.
That feeling of being part of something larger than ourselves.
I mean, who doesn't want to be the hero of their own story?
Exactly.
Right. To have a special destiny, a unique role to play in the world.
Exactly. These narratives, they made us feel validated,
Right.
empowered, like we matter.
Yeah.
And by linking you to these ancient prophecies,
Right.
the video adds this layer of mystery, this
Right.
historical significance, right?
Yeah.
It makes the claim seem even more believable.
So it's not just about personal transformation.
Right.
It's about being part of a larger cosmic plan,
Yeah.
something that was, like, predestined.
Exactly. It creates this sense of connection.
Yeah.
Like your personal journey is part of this grand narrative of spiritual awakening,
Right.
global change.
Wow, this is getting pretty epic. But it doesn't stop there. The video leads up to this dramatic final activation
Activation, okay.
to unlock your full potential. And they describe it with such vivid imagery and heightened emotions.
I bet. This final activation, it often involves things like guided visualizations,
Okay.
affirmations,
Okay.
and these techniques, they can be really powerful in shaping people's belief systems.
Really?
They can even induce altered states of consciousness.
Wow, I can only imagine. It's like the climax of the whole narrative,
Yeah.
a moment of transformation and revelation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All the sensory details, the heightened emotions, they just amplify the impact.
Right.
It makes you feel like you're truly experiencing a profound change.
So it's not just telling you you have these powers, it's making you feel it.
Yeah.
Experience it on a visceral level.
Exactly. This immersive experience, it strengthens that belief in the video's claims.
Right.
And suddenly they feel more real, more tangible.
This video is quite the roller coaster.
It really is. It's almost like a masterclass in persuasive storytelling,
Yeah.
It blends psychology, spirituality,
Right.
and a healthy dose of drama
Yeah.
to create this captivating story that people really connect with.
So what does all of this mean for you, the listener?
Right.
What's the key message you need to know right now?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
I mean, this all sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Should we really be rushing out to charge our water glasses and practice energy shielding?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say you have to run out and do all that.
Okay.
But, if you're drawn to those practices and they make you feel good,
Right.
there's no harm in exploring them.
Right.
But I think it's really important to approach it with a healthy dose of skepticism.
So it's more about how these things make you feel rather than like their actual power.
I think it's about recognizing the power of belief
Okay.
and how much our minds can influence our experiences.
Okay.
We can find value in these things
Yeah.
without necessarily taking them as absolute truth.
That makes sense.
I know.
It's easy to get kind of swept up in the excitement of it all.
Oh, for sure.
Especially when the video makes it sound so compelling.
It is a good story.
Yeah.
And, these stories, they offer a sense of purpose.
Right.
Meaning adventure, even.
Yeah.
But in the end, they are just stories.
Right.
And we have the power to choose how much we let them affect us.
So how do we kind of separate the potentially misleading parts of these messages
Yeah.
from the parts that might actually be beneficial?
That's a great question. I think this is where critical thinking becomes really important.
Critical thinking.
Question everything.
Okay.
Look for solid evidence.
Right.
Consider other explanations. And most importantly, listen to your gut.
Yeah, your intuition.
Your common sense, yeah.
It's like that saying, trust but verify.
Exactly. Don't just blindly believe everything you hear.
Okay.
Even if it sounds really appealing, even if it confirms what you want to believe,
Right.
we have to be discerning.
But what if some people genuinely feel a shift happening?
Yeah.
Like they're tapping into something bigger than themselves.
Okay.
Could there be some truth to these claims?
Sure, yeah.
Even if it's not as dramatic as the video portrays.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible that people are experiencing real growth.
Okay.
Spiritual exploration, even. The human capacity for self-discovery is incredible.
Right.
But it's important to approach those experiences with a grounded perspective
Okay.
and not just attribute them to supernatural forces without any real evidence.
So maybe instead of assuming those flickering lights are a sign from the universe,
Right.
it's wise to check the wiring first.
It's always good to rule out the simple explanation.
Right. The mundane.
Yeah, before we jump to supernatural.
But let's play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
What if this video, even with its exaggerated claims
Yeah.
and maybe manipulative tactics, is ultimately trying to get across a positive message
Oh.
about self-empowerment
Yeah.
and recognizing our potential?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible that despite its flaws, it might spark a sense of wonder,
Right.
possibility in some viewers. It might encourage them to look within.
Okay, so maybe the key is to take the good and leave the bad.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Take the nuggets of wisdom, the inspiration,
Right.
but be critical of anything that doesn't seem quite right.
So I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. It's not about blindly believing or rejecting everything.
Yeah.
It's about finding a balance
I think you're right.
between
That-
being open-minded and thinking critically.
Exactly. It's about cultivating healthy skepticism,
Right.
questioning those assumptions,
Yeah.
looking for solid information, but also being open to the mysteries of life.
But how do we know what's real and what's not?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
Especially in today's world,
Right.
where information is everywhere and everyone has a different opinion.
I know, we're just bombarded with information all the time. Right.
And it can be really hard to sort through it all.
So we need to become our own fact checkers.
In a way, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's about taking responsibility
Right.
for what we choose to believe.
Yeah.
And being really careful about who we trust.
But even with the best intentions, it's easy to fall prey to biases and misinformation.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when we're dealing with things that tap into our deepest desires and fears.
That's right. We all have biases.
Right.
And we need to be aware of them
Yeah.
and how they might be affecting what we see and believe.
Right.
And, emotions are powerful too.
Right.
When something really resonates with us on an emotional level,
Yeah.
it can be tough to look at it objectively,
Yeah.
to step back and say, wait a minute, is this really true?
So how do we navigate this complex world of information and emotions without getting lost?
Well, I think it comes down to developing a discerning mind
Okay.
and a grounded perspective.
Okay.
Question everything.
Seek out different viewpoints.
Yeah.
Be open to changing your mind if new evidence comes up.
Right.
And above all, trust your intuition. Trust your common sense.
This whole critical thinking thing
Yeah.
sounds like a lifelong journey.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
But it's so worthwhile.
Right.
It's about empowering ourselves
Yeah.
to become these really informed and thoughtful individuals
Right.
who can navigate the complexities of the world with wisdom and clarity.
Okay, so we've unpacked the video's claims,
Yeah.
explored the psychology behind them,
Right.
emphasized the importance of critical thinking.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back to the listener. What's that key message they need to take away from all this?
I think the most important message is this. You have the power to choose.
Okay.
You have the power to choose what you believe,
Right.
how you interpret information,
Yeah.
and how you let it affect you.
Right.
Don't let fear or manipulation or the promise of easy answers dictate your life. Empower yourself with knowledge,
Yeah.
with critical thinking,
Right.
with that healthy dose of skepticism.
So it's not about denying the possibility of something greater than ourselves,
No, not at all.
but approaching it with a discerning mind and a grounded perspective.
Exactly. It's about embracing the mystery of life
Right.
while staying rooted in reality.
I love that. Keep your head in the stars, but your feet firmly planted on the ground.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance
Right.
between wonder and wisdom,
Yeah.
between the extraordinary and the everyday.
This has been such an insightful deep dive.
It has.
I mean, we've covered a lot of ground.
Right. From flickering lights
Flickery lights.
and past lives
Right.
to the psychology of belief
Right.
and the ethics of spiritual messages.
And for you, the listener, we hope this has provided you with some tools
Yeah.
to approach these types of messages with a discerning mind
Yeah.
and a healthy skepticism. Remember, you are the ultimate authority on your own life and your own spiritual journey.
That's right.
Trust your instincts, question everything,
Yeah.
and never stop seeking knowledge and understanding.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'll leave you with one final thought to consider. So if these videos are so personalized and they're popping up everywhere
Right. Right.
and speaking directly to you, the viewer,
yeah.
what does that say about all the other people?
Right.
The thousands, maybe millions of others who are watching that same video.
Right. And getting that same targeted message.
Yeah, it's like if everyone's special, is anyone really special?
Right. Exactly. Does it kind of cheapen the idea?
That's a great question. And it makes you think about the intentions behind these videos.
Yeah.
If they're mass-produced but designed to feel unique,
Right.
are they really offering spiritual guidance?
Right.
Or is there something else going on?
Yeah. What's the real motive?
Exactly.
It sounds like we need to be careful about assuming this message is genuinely for us,
I think so, yeah.
especially when so many other people are receiving that same message.
Yeah, it's important to be discerning.
Right.
To consider the possibility that these videos might be playing on our desire to feel special.
Right. To feel chosen.
Chosen, exactly.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
What about you, the listener?
Yeah?
What if you've watched this video and you're feeling all these emotions?
Yeah.
You know those tingles of possibility?
Yeah, it's hard to ignore those feelings when the message seems so personal and powerful.
I know, it is. And you shouldn't try to suppress those feelings.
Okay.
I think it's better to acknowledge them,
Okay.
explore them with curiosity.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, what is it about this message that speaks to me?
Okay. Yeah.
What parts feel true?
Right.
What parts feel a little off?
So it's about taking a step back and reflecting on your own reactions,
Exactly.
rather than just accepting everything the video says at face value.
Exactly. Remember, you have the power to choose what you believe,
Right. You don't have to blindly accept everything you hear.
even if it feels really compelling. Take
Yeah.
what resonates with you, what feels helpful and inspiring,
Right.
and leave the rest.
It sounds like the key message here is about taking ownership of your own spiritual journey.
That's it, exactly. Don't let anyone else dictate your beliefs or your path.
Right.
You have the wisdom and the intuition to find your own way.
This has been such a thought-provoking deep dive.
It has.
We started with flickering lights and past lives, then explored the psychology of belief,
Right.
and even touched on the ethics of spiritual messaging.
It's been a really interesting journey.
It has.
Unraveling how these messages work,
Yeah.
how they tap into our desires and fears,
Right.
and how we can use critical thinking to navigate them.
And for you, the listener, we hope this deep dive has given you a new perspective on these types of videos
Yes,
and empowered you to approach them with a discerning mind
absolutely.
and a healthy sense of skepticism.
Remember, you are the ultimate authority on your own life
Right.
and your own spiritual journey. Trust your instincts, question everything,
Yeah.
and never stop seeking knowledge and understanding.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.